Hi, and welcome to Movie Buffers, episode 9. This is Jordan. How the fuck are you? That's great. Well, moving on. Today I want to talk about the 2021 Norwegian film, The Worst Person in the World. And this is directed by Jaheem Charrier. Now, this film has gotten quite a bit of buzz around it, and it was nominated for 2 Oscars, and it won many of independent awards. Paul Thomas Anderson has claimed that this is his favorite film of this year, being last year, aka this year for awards. And I was enjoying myself thoroughly watching this movie. I was a little bit bummed out, though, because I've been outlining a script similar to this story. I've been working on it and developing the characters for about 3 years now. But that happens sometimes, more often than not when you write. Sometimes people beat you to the better punch. And the tone of this movie is so perfectly structured between comedy and real life questions you ask yourself when you're in the dating pool or intentionally trying to break free of the traditional fall in love and have kids and grow old story. This was almost an anti-love story, and I absolutely admire stories like that, which dance with like devastating outcomes, hurt partners, or self-conscious guilt of betraying one's trust that you really care about. Kind of like Blue Valentine. That's another one of my favorite movies. In the beginning, this was very much a film just about being bored and seeking new exciting things while maintaining a somewhat normal picture-perfect life. I feel like lots of people fall in love under false pretenses, like they're just riding out a wave until the next new exciting thing or person comes along. Like her crashing at a random party and hanging out with complete strangers. And she meets this guy and they flirt, and then they try to ride the lines and try to find the line between what's cheating and what's not. So they go off and do a bunch of interesting things, like watching each other pee and stuff. And then the man admits to cheating once before, and it ate him up, and he never wants to experience that again. So it was almost like watching a couple of alcoholics trying to keep each other busy while dodging their addiction. Only instead of alcohol, the addiction is fulfilling your own wants and having dirty secrets you hide under the rug of your mind, keeping them from your current partner. So she also works at the library, and during a shift one day, she sees the guy that she was flirting with at the party. And now I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks this, but I really don't like the vibes of this guy. He's a little bit doofy and lanky, but she finds herself infatuated with him. Anyway, they lock eyes and say hello at the library, and little does he know that she's actually helping his girlfriend find a green yoga book, which comes into play later. Now, I feel that this gives us the forbidden fruits feeling, that I guess a lot of cheaters get off on, or, just confused people in an unhappy relationship trying to figure it out. And I know this is supposed to be perceived as an empowering film, but I do feel like lying and sneaking around is just a little bit selfish, and it shouldn't be glorified. But then again, where would we be without that here? It would just be a boring romantic film with no edge. In the next scene, she's at dinner with her boyfriend and his friends, and they're going on about, his acclaimed underground comic book being made into a film. And it has been stripped of all of its grit and integrity. They even smooth out the cat's butthole, which was featured in his comics. And he's a little bit upset about this, rightfully so. And he talks about how his character Bobcat is a wild cat in the world of domesticated cats, and that it was never meant to be perceived in this Mickey Mouse, or as he calls Chip and Dale kind of way. And this seems to resonate with her, with a clear message that she's the wild cat in the world of domesticated cats. Anyway, it moves forward a little bit, and it cuts to her kind of thinking about things, and she walks into the kitchen, and he's, pouring a cup of coffee, and she hits the light switch, and then time just freezes. So it kind of just turns into a flash mob scene, if you guys remember those from 2014 era. The flash mob scene was actually really beautiful. I have to admire the location, the time of day, the cinematography, the color grading, the story, the characters. God, I envy this fucking film. And I can see why PTA raved about it in an interview I watched. It really has his vibe. I really felt like it could be a PTA movie sometimes. I got notes of Punch Drunk Love and the scene where she runs through frozen time to talk to her new love interest in the coffee shop. It even had that like pink flamingo color palette. It was beautiful. So she returns to her apartment to set time back in motion and break up with Eskel in a pretty gut-wrenching breakup scene. How he goes from slightly understanding to quasi-begging her to reconsider. It was pretty tough to watch. Now, there was a point in this film where we follow Ivan, a.k.a. the guy she met at the party, and his fiancée, or just girlfriend. I can't quite remember. Anyway, she has a life-changing experience when she sees a reindeer. When they're out camping and she comes in contact with a reindeer that lets her come up to it and even touch it. And this sends her down an ancestral, like, rabbit hole. She finds out she's a small percentage with the indigenous people of that area. I don't know. But she becomes obsessed with becoming an indigenous person's advocate, indigenous people's advocate. And it seems as though they make it out to seem like she's doing this to make herself look good, as well as, annoying her partner by choosing to live a more hippie, strict lifestyle. It's the moral carbon footprint thing, I think. Anyway, this is where they circle back to the bookstore where Julie works and explains why she, his fiance, was requesting the Green Yoga book. As she kindles a relationship with Ivan, even moving in with him after what appears to be a very short time, they take mushrooms one night and she sees all kinds of visions of people she's crossed, family members. She even, in the vision, pulls a tampon out and throws it at her father's face, and then makes war paint on her own face with the blood. And this scene was so goddamn trippy, man. And a lot of things coming out lately, they've had people doing mushrooms, and it feels like so cheesy. But this looks so incredible. This really made me feel like the two of them were exploring their freedom to the fullest, and really enjoying being in a relationship where they both are on the same page about having children and just enjoying life in general. And then we move in on a beautiful looking scene where Julie is on a treadmill in the gym and it's snowing outside. And this movie makes me feel like I want to see everything filmed in the snow. This is such a good looking film, man. Like I said, envy. So she sees Eskel on the TV, her ex, where he's getting a little interrogated about the old comics he created, and where I feel that he was defending art in this scene. And it's crazy to watch it from a completely different part of the world, and the same debates and conversations about cancel culture are happening. So they kind of go at him a bit about how he has some content out there about rape that they find to be extremely insensitive, and they take personal offense to it. And he is quick to get fired up. Anyway, it doesn't go well. Yeah, it was kind of just watching a meltdown happen on live television. Moving on, there's so much more. Oh man, there's so many layers to this story, to this movie. It's so insane. So she runs into Eskel's brother in the library sometime later, and he accidentally informs her that Eskel is currently dying of pancreatic cancer. And it's a fucking shocking reveal. And the punches don't stop there. Fuck, man. When the camera stays on her face, the reaction of what the fuck, the self-reflection, the questioning everything in life leading up to this point, she wears it all on her face. She's a brilliant actor. I can't tell you guys how much I enjoyed every single performance in this film and was in a trance. And I did not expect to feel this way, especially when I saw all the hype. I was like, oh shit, what's this? A Dallas Buyers Club situation? But no, it's just a near perfect film. For me, anyway. So she goes to see Eskel in the hospital right after she finds out she's pregnant. And she doesn't tell Ivan either. Yeah, everything just happens all at once in this film. So the scene where he's jamming out on the hospital bed, it was so fucking badass. The way they filmed it, they made it look like a Foo Fighters video or something. And when they're at the table outside and he's talking about how he feels like he's been acting dead for years. Like he gave up long before he even knew he was dying. And this scene made me a little emotional. I won't lie. It was a very powerful monologue from this guy. And goddamn, he acted his heart out in this. Now, I will say at times at the end of this movie, it started to feel a little bit melodramatic and a little too coincidental. But either way, fuck, what a powerful movie. So she goes and breaks up with Ivan. She needs time to think about if she wants the child or not. So it seems like she left out that her ex is dying of cancer, though. And that she wants to be there for him. I don't know why I feel like for some reason this guy would have understood. I mean, why it had to be this way, but, you know, I don't know. The movie had to happen. And I like how them telling us that he died was her walking and watching the sunrise. And it felt really refreshing not to have a long, drawn-out death scene and being force-fed the plot like we get it. He died. And watching the sunrise with her was absolutely heartbreaking. And if you ever lost someone very close and you had to process it in that moment that it happens, it is exactly how this feels. And then as she's showering later, it seems like all of the stress and everything going on in her life, she starts bleeding in the shower, and then which lets us know that all the stress and grief has caused her to miscarry. And it just felt like a blow after blow at this point. We watched a character truly grow. We watched her truly grow and develop in front of our very eyes. It felt like you were like a part of making this story as it happened almost. It just was satisfying. As devastating as it all is. So we cut to some years later, and she's a still photographer on set, which I was kind of geeking out over. You know, I thought she was a PA at first, and I was like, whoa, dude, that's what I'm doing right now. I could relate. But no, she has a cooler job than I do. She takes pictures, still pictures of the actress who just did a scene. And then we come to find out that she has a child with fucking Ivan, man. Like, what? The fucking actor lady and Julie just happens to look out the window and see them walking off with a baby? Damn, dude, this movie cuts fucking deep. So fucking deep. At the end of this film, the film kind of just ends with her kind of dazed, yet content. So let me just say this right here, right now. This is the best fucking movie I've seen in a very long time. I give it 4.5 stars, 2 thumbs up, and a fat A-. Go see this movie. It's still playing in select. And buy it. Give it your money. Watch it. And thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and smash that bell. Help the show out. Help us grow. So this is Jordan, and this has been Movie Buffers.